Lying in this crib is one who was destined for greatness. This little angel would grow to be a multi-talented singer and actress, the biggest black teen female pop star of the 1990s, the first black princess. And with all those great achievements to become, it's also been said that she's cursed. Brandy REALLY Norwood was that girl. She was the quintessential it girl of the 1990s. As one part of the R&B trinity, Brandy dominated the music industry, won numerous awards, had a very successful TV show and movies. Hell, she was even our very first black princess. Brandy was flying high above her peers. She was even the first black teen to get her own Barbie doll. Brandy was truly that girl. But as incredible and dominating as Brandy was, there's also been loads of scandals that have surrounded her life and career, so much so that it's been said that she is cursed, that anyone she's around comes into bad fortune, and for some, even death. After listening to this, let me know if you think that there's a black cloud hovering over Brandy or just horrible coincidences. Let's explore the many scandals and perhaps curses of Brandy Norwood. Scandal 1, the blinding of Romeo. In 1992, Brandy was just getting into the entertainment business, and one of her first gigs was being a background singer for the R&B group, Immature. During her time with them, they were all children in the industry. And what do kids do best? Be stupid. For years, fans always wondered why Romeo wore an eye patch. And as cool as it looked, it wasn't just a chic stylistic choice. It was because Brandy blinded him. Romeo revealed in 2019 on Nick Cannon's show what happened the day Brandy took his eyesight. It's true Brandy blinded me. Her and Half Pint got into an argument, and she had a book in her hand and tossed it back, not thinking anyone was that close. She cut my retina, detached it, and the lens to my eye had fell out. That sounds painful, and unfortunately, the doom of being around Brandy was just getting started. Scandal 2, beefs. Now, this situation is more of a scandal than a curse, but apparently Brandy didn't really respect her elders. In 1993, Brandy was hired to be on the TV sitcom Thea. She played Thea Vidal's daughter, but it seems the two didn't get along very well. In 2020, after Thea posted shady tweets in regards to Brandy, it was revealed that Thea didn't like Brandy or her mother, Sonia. Thea claimed that Brandy and her mother were very disrespectful to her on her own show. In regards to Thea's tweets, here's what Brandy had to say. I felt like that was the stepping stone to get to my music career. And I felt maybe, she's just a little bit bitter because I haven't seen her do a lot since then. So maybe it was a way to get attention. And I just honestly believe that. She needs a little love right now. But if we go by this last tweet here, showing a few people that Brandy had beef with, it seems that Ms. B. Rocca also didn't get along with her other TV mom, Cheryl Lee Ralph. In 1996, Brandy starred in her own TV show called Moesha. Cheryl Lee Ralph played Brandy's stepmother, Dee, and according to Cheryl, Brandy was very disrespectful to her. This is what Cheryl Lee Ralph had to say. Cheryl basically wanted to have a good relationship with Brandy because she thought that Brandy was very talented and liked the fact that she was able to succeed in the entertainment business, wearing braids. When she started working on the show, she noticed that Brandy had nothing but yes men around her. Everything Brandy wanted, Brandy got. And since the teenagers hung out carelessly on set, filming got delayed and she would have to work longer than expected. She complained that she had kids and a husband at home to return to, and that she couldn't be sitting around waiting for Brandy and the other teens to film. The last straw was when the last season rolled around and Cheryl got braids over the summer. She wore them on set for filming, and at first Brandy acted excited about it. She was like, "Your braids are cute, we look like twins." Then soon after, The producers approached Cheryl to have them removed because the braids were Brandy's thing. Cheryl refused. They demanded her to remove them and even offered to make her a custom wig in any style she liked. They told her that they'd donate money to her favorite charity if she removed the braids. She agreed, but that was the last straw for her. She could no longer be around kids who were acting like divas. She ended up leaving the show. She said years later, some of the younger co-stars apologized to her for their behavior. She said that she met Brandy at an event sometime after the show had ended and that Brandy apologized. She said that she was just a kid, she didn't know any better, and Cheryl accepted. It seems Brandy was on her high horse in the 90s and treated a lot of people like crap. It was even reported that she couldn't get along with her co-star actress Countess Vaughn, who played Kim Parker. Those two, who played best friends on the show, were reported to have thrown accusations of jealousy towards each other, with Countess having called Brandy a bitch, and Brandy saying that Countess knows what she sees in the mirror and is unhappy about it. Wow, the shade. There is another famous beef that Brandy had with someone who is very well known, but we'll dive into that one a little later. Scandal 3, underage relationship with Wanya Morris. It was always thought that Brandy's mother, Sonia, was a stern, authoritative helicopter mom who didn't play about her daughter. But if she was as strict as she was perceived, then one would wonder how the inappropriate relationship between her teenage daughter and grown-ass Wanya was able to develop. In 1994, Brandy worked with Wanya Morris, member of popular R&B group Boyz II Men. According to Wanya, the two were working together and soon became very close. Brandy was 15 and had begun harboring deep feelings for Wanya, who was 6 years older than her. After she hesitantly confessed her feelings to him, at first stunned, he admitted he felt the same and the two developed a romantic relationship. He invited her to join the group's 1995 national tour, where they got even closer. Even inappropriately so. Mind you, Brandy was just 15 and Wanya was in his 20s. They decided it was best to keep their relationship a secret due to Brandy's budding career and probably her age. Here's how he described his relationship with Brandy.
Brandy and I were friends in the beginning. Her mother and reached out to me, as well as my manager reached out to Brandy, because Brandy was a big fan of mine. And I was like, wow, that's amazing, because this young lady was pretty cool. And I was young at the time. I wasn't 30 nothing, you know what I'm saying? So don't get it twisted. What happened is, we actually, she became kind of like my little protege, you know what I mean? I'm actually the one that introduced her to Vita Spears and Ralph Fuqua. They came to us to actually do a TV show on the UPN network. And I said, well, Brandy's down the hallway, and, she's basically, she was on a theater show. Okay, cool. Introduced her to that. The show came to fruition. My mom and I wrote the theme song to the Brandy show. So Brandy and I were really, really close. Once she turned of age, we had been hanging around each other so much. We've been hanging around each other so much that there became to be some sort of connection, an intimate connection. We actually fell in love. Now, we were young. That's what happens. You're young and you fall in love. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have the ability to be around somebody a lot, you begin to know things about them. You know what I mean? And they know things about you. Now, when you're young, you make decisions based on your youth. You know what I'm saying? You don't make decisions, moral decisions that put you in a whole position where you know that this is what's going to be for the rest of your life. You're learning through everything. And Brandy and I learned through a lot. When it came time for Brandy to go on her prom, she was my girlfriend. Kobe Bryant was graduating from high school that year. Brandy was my girlfriend. She had just graduated from Pepperdine. And her mom and I, we both made it so that Brandy was able to go on tour. On the prom with Kobe Bryant. Okay, when it came time for Brandy to introduce herself to the world, I'm the one that actually put her on the Boyz II Men tour. Okay, so she was with me. She was my friend, and we became intimate in a relationship. There's no lie going on here. You can ask Brandy; she will tell you the same story. Relax on what you think, because I know, because I lived it, and so did Brandy. As time progressed, we grew out of each other. Yes, it was a hurtful thing. It was a hurtful thing to break up. That's what happens. You're in a relationship, and then you break up. She grew out of me, and I grew out of her. I grew out of her a little bit faster, but it's a relationship. You're young, and you make decisions. Next thing you know, that's what it is. Brandy's successful, Boyz II Men is successful, and we're happy. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is. We are happy. So whoever is there saying, all kinds of crazy stuff, like they know. You know what I mean? Regardless of anything, my age, her mother was definitely, a part of our relationship. Her mother and father was a part of our relationship. They allowed me to guide Brandy and to help her through her career. They understood that we had grown close, and that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? So understand that you know for a fact, whoever it is on here, that life happens. That's just what it is.
In an interview he did with The Breakfast Club, Wanya was asked if he and Brandy were sexually active. This is what he had to say about it.
Boyz II Men, obviously, at a point in time, you guys were like the biggest group. that was out. And you had a celebrity relationship. Were you the only one that was ever involved with a celebrity?
Wanye was banging Brandy.
He left you lonely, brokenhearted.
No, I didn't actually leave a
He was teaching Reggae how to do videos.
You told Reggae how to do something. That's why he called you Squirt.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, Brandy even said in her behind the music that you broke her heart because you fell in love with somebody else.
I mean, you only fall in love with somebody. You only fall out of love with somebody else if somebody makes you fall out of love. So if that was the situation, if that's what she said, then
That's political. I like that.
I can't contest to her view about it. I can just only live by my view.
Revolt.
They were saying she was really young when y'all dated.
Yeah, she was. Not that young. Not
jail baby.
No, I'm saying. But that's why I stopped it. Hold on. But that's why I stopped it and said that she wasn't that young because I don't want y'all to think Boyz II Men was young. No.
I was young too.
She said she was 15 and she had to keep it a secret.
No. See, we did the thing. We did the thing when she was like 16, 17 around that time.
So you were still a boy too.
I wasn't old. I wasn't like 38 years old. Nothing like that. I was old enough to. She was old enough to get it.
But was it legal in the state y'all was in?
I mean, we was always in different states. We
had a nomad relationship.
You know what I'm saying? We just, we didn't do it in the states that it was legal. It was illegal.
Nice.
No. It was, you know what I mean? It was a time. It was a relationship. It grew and it ungrew. I guess you could say that.
Squirted and unsquirted.
Squirted and unsquirted. I like that.
Sounds like a very inappropriate relationship with inappropriate conduct occurred. And do y'all see how dismissive and disrespectful he was about it? The two were together for about 2 years, so Miss Sonia had to have known about this. However, this relationship with Wanye ended in heartbreak for Brandy. Apparently, Wanye had been cheating with a more age-appropriate woman, singer Adina Howard, and he left Brandy for her. It's said that Brandy's second album, Never Say Never, was about their relationship and breakup. It's sad because this young girl had fallen so hard for a man who was too old for her, and she clearly didn't know how to handle that. Here's what she'd said about him. I just told him that I loved him and thanked him for making me feel the way I feel because I had never felt that way before, she recalled during a 2012 episode of VH1's Behind the Music. I was on a high. It was love. It was real love. The two's only duet together was fittingly called Brokenhearted. But it seems more heartbreak would be coming her way.
Scandal for the Moesha curse.
In 1996, Brandy landed a TV show of her own called Moesha. Moesha was the platform that helped propel Brandy into mainstream superstardom. And as successful as she was, behind the scenes, Moesha was full of drama. The cast members had many times when they were at each other's throats. But that wasn't the main problem. The main problem was that it seemed many folks who were on that show came to some kind of doom or death. A few of her castmates lost their lives, starting with Merlin Santana. He played Moesha's love interest, Ohaji. Merlin lost his life in 2002 when he was shot to death after being set up by a teenage girl who claimed he'd sexually assaulted her. It wasn't true, but it was too late because the men she told had taken action and shot up the car that Merlin and his friend were in. Merlin was 26 years old. Next was co-star Lamont Bentley. He played Hakeem, who was Moesha's friend/boyfriend. Lamont passed away in 2005 in a single car accident. He was driving past midnight and, according to witnesses, speeding on the highway. He crashed through a chain-link fence, rolled down an embankment, and was ejected from his vehicle. It was then that he was struck by 5 vehicles and ultimately passed away from blunt force trauma. He was 31 years old. Then in 2008, Bernie Mac, who played Uncle Bernie, passed away after years of dealing with severe health complications and being diagnosed with sarcoidosis. He died from cardiac arrest. He was 50 years old. Lastly, there was Yvette Wilson, who played the club owner, Andell. She passed away in 2012 after suffering from cervical cancer. She was 48 years old. Moesha's little brother, Miles, played by actor Marcus Paulk, had a flurry of bad luck come his way. After the show, Marcus was in and out of jail. He'd been caught in domestic violence and DUI cases, as well as child support cases. The Moesha curse didn't just stop at the cast members. Some would say it hit Brandy, too. The black cloud around Brandy seemed to be forming more and more as darker days were ahead. as well as more scandals. Scandal 5, beef with Monica. Though Brandy was dominating the teen R&B scene in the 90s, she did have some competition. Aaliyah, who broke out first, was already pretty successful in R&B and making great moves in the industry. And Monica, who debuted a year later in 1995, came in to form this teen R&B trinity. Even back then, it was Brandy who came through being messy. She'd made unnecessary comments about Aaliyah being too grown and how her mother would never allow her to dress like that. But the ever-so-classy Aaliyah deaded the whole situation by responding like this.
Brandy said some things that were said. Now, did you hear what she actually...
I caught wind of some of it, but I don't pay much attention to that. I think there's room out here for all of us, so good luck, Brandy.
Ladies.
And they didn't really have any more problems after that. But Monica, on the other hand, was all the way with the shits. These girls were all successful in their own right. But Brandy and Monica were pitted against each other the most. Due to the many comparisons, it was thought that the two, perceived rivals, should come together. Well, that finally happened in 1998. With their duet, The Boy Is Mine. The Boy Is Mine blew up. It went to #1 and stayed there for 13 weeks, selling 2.6 million copies, and they both won a Grammy for it. With all this success, the two perceived rivals ended up becoming real enemies. There were reports of fist fights between the two, one in which Monica supposedly punched Brandy in the eye, right before a performance at the VMAs. Brandy confirmed the assault on their verses. The two had a very shady history with each other, coming together again in 2012 for another duet that wasn't nearly as successful as their first. It seemed Brandy couldn't really get along with many people, and it's been said that she is fake and shady to other artists. Others Brandy have been said to have shady interactions with are Beyoncé, Kelly Rowland, Kim Kardashian, and background singer Tion Christian, to name a few. But Brandy would have bigger problems on her hands very soon. Scandal 6, pregnancy and fake marriage. In 2001, Brandy was working on her newest album, Full Moon. It was during that time that she started dating songwriter and producer Robert Big Bert Smith. But it was in 2002, during promotions for her album, that Brandy dropped a bomb. She said that she'd been secretly married since 2001 and that she was currently pregnant with a baby girl. The world was shocked. America's sweetheart married and with child? They felt she was so young, but they were happy for this new phase in her life. But soon the couple had trouble in paradise, and it was reported that they'd divorced. It was 2004, and Brandy was now engaged to NBA player Quentin Richardson. During an interview, Brandy was asked about her prior marriage and why it declined. Here's how she answered.
You went through a very terrible divorce.
Yes.
And you made comments saying that you got married too early. How old were you when you got married?
I was 21, 22.
21?
Yeah.
That's young. I mean, I think I was 24. Why do you say it was so early? You think that...
Because I just really wasn't ready for that type of commitment, you know?
You feel like you're more mature now and you need different things?
Definitely.
And you've got a hot guy in Quentin Richardson, right?
Yeah.
For the LA Clippers?
Yeah,
really
he's
wonderful
hot.
basketball player?
Yeah.
Robert didn't appreciate Brandy's comments about him, so he retaliated. He called into the Wendy Williams show and revealed that the two were never married. He claimed it was her record label and her parents that made up the plan to fake their marriage to protect Brandy's squeaky clean reputation. Then on another show, he said Brandy was a jump-off and that he was seeking custody of their daughter, Sarai. Embarrassed, Brandy released this statement. After all this chaos, Brandy's engagement to Quentin ended. She'd gotten engaged again in 2012, but that relationship also fell apart. This next scandal is the one that really made people wonder if Brandy truly is a curse or just surrounded by horrible coincidences. Scandal 7, the fatal crash. In December 2006, Brandy was involved in a devastating incident that would change her life forever. At 10:30 a.m. on December 30th, it was reported that Brandy was driving recklessly on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles. She was driving at 65 miles per hour and hadn't noticed that the traffic had slowed down significantly. She rammed her 2007 Land Rover into the back of a 2005 Toyota, which caused a horrible chain reaction. The 2005 Toyota slammed into a 1989 Toyota that was in front of it. This caused the 2005 vehicle to launch sideways over the center divider on the opposite side of the highway, where it was smashed into by a 1988 Acura. This four-car crash was severe. The 2005 Toyota that Brandy hit had a 38-year-old mother of two, Awatef Abudihaj, and her two sons inside. She was not moving. A man who was right behind Brandy witnessed the whole thing. He claims that Brandy was frantic and walking in and out of traffic in a daze, repeating things like, "It's my fault, I didn't stop, it's my fault, I hit the lady." He got out of his vehicle to comfort her and give her some legal advice. He told her to stop admitting guilt and letting her know that it was an accident. He then went over to the 2005 Toyota to check on Abudihaj, but said he couldn't find a pulse. Awatef Abudihaj was rushed to the hospital where she died from blunt force injuries the next day. Her two sons, 11 and 15, had to be hospitalized too. The 1988 Acura that hit and ultimately killed Abudihaj was driven by 50-year-old Mallory Ham, and she was taken to the hospital as well, suffering with significant injuries. After doing some investigating, revealed that Brandy was not intoxicated nor distracted by her phone, as some rumors had reported, but she was speeding, and the police recommended that Brandy be charged with misdemeanor vehicular manslaughter for the four-car crash. The maximum penalty would be a $1,000 fine and a year in jail. Abudihaj's family sued big time. Her parents filed a $50 million lawsuit against Brandy. Then a lawsuit was filed on behalf of her sons, who suffered from watching the death of their mother, as well as their own injuries, and her husband filed a lawsuit of his own. Mallory Ham sued Brandy because Brandy caused her to involuntarily take someone else's life, as well as sustain horrible injuries herself. With all these lawsuits against Brandy, the courts decided to compile them all into one large lawsuit. All while this was happening, the paparazzi was following Brandy heavily, and there were pictures of her driving while on the phone, which is illegal. This made people believe that she really was a reckless driver, and doing things like this is what caused that horrible accident. Then there was footage of Brandy out partying with friends. This truly pissed the families off.
Says what's up?
Huh?
Team C says hello.
Hi, Team C.
Is it your birthday?
No, it's my friend's birthday.
All right, you guys gonna go out celebrating tonight?
Yep, we're gonna have a good time.
You enjoy.
Thanks for being here.
More investigations were done and showed that the crash wasn't due to Brandy's vehicle being faulty, so she was still facing serious consequences. Brandy's team came back swinging. They seemed to put the blame on the victim, Abudihaj herself, for the crashes, as well as her own death. The theory was that it was Abudihaj that hit the 1989 Toyota in front of her first, which caused them to abruptly stop, thus causing Brandy to ram into her. They also stated that it was Abudihaj that had slight traces of marijuana in her system. The scrutiny of the deceased didn't just stop there. The driver of the 1989 Toyota, 82-year-old Donald Light, sued both Brandy and Abudihaj for causing the crashes, as well as his serious and permanent injuries, so it seems Mrs. Abudihaj wasn't off the hook even in death. Ultimately, after a year of investigating, and due to lack of evidence, prosecutors decided not to press charges on Brandy. She was able to avoid jail time. However, she did settle out of court with her victims. She paid $300,000 each to Abudihaj's sons, and the other settlements are confidential. Brandy was very lucky, but others around her weren't. She went into deep depression and dealt with public scrutiny. She claimed to have even had self-deletion thoughts. And yet, the ominous cloud looming over her was getting bigger.
2006, the worst time for you when you were involved in the accident and the woman was killed? Was that the worst?
That was one of the worst times in my life. You never wake up thinking that
Today's the day.
today's the day that something like this would happen.
Scandal 8, Whitney's Letter. On February 9, 2012, during an interview with Brandy, Monica, and Clive Davis, Whitney Houston and her daughter Bobby Christina interrupted their interview. Whitney was soaking wet and seemingly erratic. Stunned at Whitney's disheveled appearance, Monica asked Whitney why was she wet. Now there's two theories on what people believe Whitney said. At first listen, it sounds like Whitney says, "I swim twice a day." But others claim to hear the phrase, "I almost drowned twice today." Take a listen for yourself and let me know what you think Whitney says.
I stopped it.
The overwhelming majority believes that she says the disturbing phrase, "I almost drowned twice today." She says this twice before turning to give Brandy a note and continuing to talk to Clive and Monica. Brandy, already looking stunned by Whitney's appearance, quickly glances at the note, seems disturbed, and quickly folds it up before passing it off to an assistant. Whitney tells Bobby Christina to come and hug her godfather. Clive and Whitney ends the interview with giving Brandy a kiss on the cheek. What makes Whitney's surprise appearance and comment more disturbing is that 2 days later, on February 11th, Whitney Houston passed away from drowning on Brandy's birthday. For years, fans have speculated what was in that note that was given to Brandy. It just didn't make sense to those who watched this video. Whitney's appearance and actions, mixed with the secretive way she and Brandy were acting, made outsiders believe something nefarious had happened to Whitney, and that Brandy knew about it. Brandy says she'll never reveal what was in that letter and that she'll keep it to herself for her own personal reasons. And it's that secrecy that made people believe that Brandy knows more about Whitney's death than she lets on. There's rumors that the note is a call for help, that it tells Brandy that Whitney knows Clive Davis has sent people after her to kill her. Then there's rumors that she and her brother Ray J knows who supposedly killed Whitney. Another rumor is that Ray J supplied a drug dealer to Whitney that gave her a bad dose that killed her, and that Brandy is covering for him. During the time when Ray J had a few messages showing self-deletion thoughts, and when Brandy had a seizure, people believed this was his and his sister's guilty conscience bothering them. That Ray J was self-deletion ready due to his alleged role in Whitney's death, and that Brandy supposedly used her seizure to get the focus off her brother, to add fuel to the fire. On the mystery of the note and Whitney's last time with her, Brandy kept saying, "She has the torch." In 2017, on Whitney's birthday, while people were writing tributes to honor Whitney, Brandy wrote several messages saying how Whitney passed her the torch. Then, in a rant-filled message directed at Monica and her fans, who Brandy called pigeons, Brandy stated several times how it was she who was closest to Whitney and how the torch was passed to her. By her repeatedly saying this made others believe that Brandy was a part of some kind of sacrifice of Whitney, since she literally passed away on her birthday and was now stating that she was blessed with the passing of the torch. It made conspiracy theorists of Whitney's death give Brandy the side eye. Either way, Brandy still hasn't revealed the contents of the note and seems she never will, leaving it to remain an eerie mystery. But it also adds to the lore that it can be dangerous to be around Brandy. This next tragedy probably cements it. Scandal 9, the death of LaShawn Daniels. LaShawn Daniels had an amazing career in the music industry as a Grammy Award-winning songwriter and producer. He worked with legendary artists like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Usher, Lady Gaga, and Beyoncé, to name a few. Along with his musical partner Rodney Jerkins, LaShawn worked with Brandy for years, contributing to many of her greatest hits, such as The Boy Is Mine and the Never Say Never and Full Moon projects. On August 29th, the BMI Awards honored Brandy with the President's Award for her contributions to music. 5 days later, on September 3rd, it aired and showed the ceremony. It was there where she was celebrated by her peers, and she personally shouted out LaShawn for their work together.
I want to thank every one of you that I've worked with in this room. I know it's so many of you. I see DJ Kemper right there. I know LaShawn Daniels is here.
Later on that day in South Carolina, LaShawn was killed in a horrible traffic accident. According to the South Carolina Highway Patrol, the head-on collision happened on SC Highway 5. Authorities say a truck that was driven by 32-year-old Jackie Dean Moss traveled left of center of the highway and smashed into LaShawn's van that was driving in the opposite direction. Both vehicles involved in the crash caught fire, and both drivers died on the scene. LaShawn's wife, April, broke the news about his passing, and an outpouring of love and prayers came from all over the industry. So, what do you think? Do you think Brandy is a cursed person or a black cat that brings misfortune on others? Or do you think it's just unfortunate coincidences? Let me know down below. And if you think stalking is dangerous, stay tuned to hear about the singer who was stalked by someone or something from the beyond.